The old road that ran between the hills and the edge of the desert was not a dangerous road, but it was a long one, and long roads often carry quiet mysteries. In the bright morning it looked ordinary, like a pale ribbon stretched across the earth. By afternoon the heat made it shimmer as if the world itself was sighing. But at dusk, when the sky softened into honey gold and the air cooled gently, the road felt different, as though it were holding its breath. Travellers said dusk was the hour when the world became kinder, when shadows grew long but never frightening, and when even silence seemed warm. Near that road stood a small town where lanterns were lit early, and bread was baked before sunrise. In that town lived a girl named Mariam. Mariam loved quiet things. She loved the sound of a kettle beginning to sing, of the smell of mint leaves crushed between fingers, and the first star appearing like a tiny promise. She lived with her grandmother, Nana Sophia, who was known for making the gentlest tea in town. Nana Sophia poured tea slowly, as if time itself were something precious. Tea is not only a drink, she would tell Mariam, it is a way of listening. When you pour slowly, you remind the heart that it does not need to rush. One evening, while Mariam and Nana Sophia were sweeping their front step, a traveller stopped in the shade of their doorway. Dust clung to his clothes, and his eyes looked tired in the way that comes from walking too far with too many thoughts. Nana Sophia offered him water first, then a small cup of tea, because she believed tiredness should always be met with warmth. When the traveller had rested, he leaned closer as if sharing something rare. "If you walk the old road at dusk," he said, "you might find a tea house that wasn't there in the morning. It appears when the sun is leaving and it vanishes before the night grows old." Mariam's broom paused mid-sweep. "A tea house," she repeated, half expecting him to laugh, but the traveller only nodded. "Some say it serves tea that tastes like forgotten comfort," he murmured. "I only know that once, when I felt lost, I saw a lantern light beside the road and heard a kettle singing. For a moment, my heart felt lighter. Then I blinked, and it was gone." He thanked them and continued on, leaving Mariam with a question that would not let go. That night Mariam lay awake imagining lanterns glowing in the dusk, a small warm place appearing like a story. In the morning everything seemed ordinary again, but the traveller's words had planted a seed of curiosity. By afternoon Mariam asked Nana Sophia if they could walk to the edge of town at dusk, just to see the sky change colours. Nana Sophia looked at Mariam carefully, as if she understood more than Mariam had said, then nodded. "We can walk," she replied, "but we walk gently. The evening is not something to chase." As the sun lowered, Nana Sophia wrapped a scarf around her shoulders and slipped a small tin of tea leaves into her bag. "In case someone needs warmth," she explained, and Mariam loved that her grandmother carried kindness as naturally as breath. Together they followed the road past the last houses until the town's sounds softened behind them. The sky turned from blue to pale gold. Birds grew quieter, the air cooled. Mariam noticed dusk arriving not suddenly but softly, like a blanket being pulled over the day. They stopped near a cluster of stones where travellers sometimes rested. Nana Sophia sat down calmly, and Mariam sat beside her. At first the road was empty. Mariam began to wonder if she had believed too easily. She opened her mouth to speak, but Nana Sophia lifted a finger, a small motion that felt like a whisper saying, "Wait." Then Mariam noticed something changing in the light beside the road. At first it was only a warmth in the dusk, like a small ember left behind. The ember brightened into a lantern glow. Another glow joined it, then another, until a gentle line of light appeared where there had been only shadow. Mariam blinked hard, certain her eyes were playing tricks, but the light remained steady. A faint bell chimed, as if a door had opened quietly in the world. A tea house stood beside the road. It was small and tidy, built of dark wood, with windows glowing like amber. Lanterns hung from hooks as if they had been waiting all along. Above the low door was a carved crescent moon, and from inside rose a thin ribbon of steam, as though the building itself were breathing out warmth. Mariam's heart fluttered. "It's real," she whispered. Nana Sophia's eyes softened. "Real enough," her grandmother murmured, and she took Mariam's hand. They approached slowly, respectfully. Before they could knock, the door opened. Warm air drifted out, carrying the scent of mint and cardamom. Inside, lantern light painted the walls in soft gold. Cushions lined the room, woven mats covered the floor, and a kettle sat on a low stove singing a steady, soothing song. Behind the counter stood the keeper of the tea house, a person with kind eyes and calm hands, as if they'd been welcoming tired hearts for a very long time. "Welcome," the keeper said, as though Mariam and Nana Sophia had been expected. Nana Sophia inclined her head politely. Mariam looked around and noticed jars on shelves, each filled with dried herbs and tea leaves. Their labels were written in delicate script. One read, "Patience." Another read, "Peace." Another read, "Quiet joy." Mariam blinked, unsure if she was reading words or feelings. The keeper gestured toward cushions near the window. "Sit," they said gently. "Let the day leave you here." Mariam and Nana Sophia sat down. The keeper poured water into a small pot, added a pinch of leaves, and soon 2 cups were placed before them. The tea was golden, like sunlight softened into liquid. Mariam lifted her cup and took a careful sip. Warmth spread through her chest like a blanket. It tasted of mint, yes, but also of something deeper, something like comfort after a long day. Mariam's eyes stung with sudden tears, surprising her. Nana Sophia drank too, and her shoulders relaxed as if she had set down an invisible burden. The keeper watched quietly, understanding without questions. Mariam swallowed and whispered, "Why do you only appear at dusk?" The keeper rinsed the pot slowly before answering. "Because dusk is the hour when people are most honest," they said. "In the bright day, many pretend they are not tired. In the deep night, many hide from their own thoughts. But at dusk, the world admits it is changing. The sun admits it is leaving. It is the best time for a weary heart to admit what it needs." Mariam looked into her cup, thinking of her own small worries. Worries about making mistakes, about growing up, about not knowing what she would become. They were not storms, but they were heavy enough sometimes. Sitting here, she felt them loosen, as if the tea house itself were gently untying knots inside her. After a while, Nana Sophia set her cup down with care. "Thank you," she said softly. The keeper inclined their head. "Carry dusk gently," they replied. "It is not meant to be squeezed." Mariam stood too, reluctant to leave. "Will we see this place again?" she asked. The keeper's eyes warmed. "You do not need to chase it," they said. "When your heart truly needs a pause, you will find it again, or you will become it for someone else." Mariam frowned slightly. Become it?" Nana Sophia smiled, her expression kind as lantern light. "A pause can be a place," her grandmother said, "but it can also be a person." The keeper nodded. "When you offer warmth to someone tired," they said, "when you listen without rushing, when you pour tea with patience, you're building a tea house in the world. Not one made of wood and lanterns, but one made of kindness." Mariam held on to those words as they stepped outside. The air had grown cooler, stars were beginning to appear. She turned back, but the lanterns were already dimming, as if dusk itself were folding the tea house away. For one more heartbeat, the windows glowed, then the light softened, faded, and vanished. The tea house was gone, leaving only the quiet road and warmth in Mariam's chest, like a lantern she could carry without hands. On the walk home, Nana Sophia's steps seemed lighter. Mariam listened to the hush of the town settling into night. She realized the tea house had not appeared to reward curiosity. It had appeared to remind her of something deeper, that rest is kindness, that warmth is medicine, and that even the strongest hearts deserve gentleness. When they reached home, Nana Sophia took out her tea tin and smiled. "Tomorrow," she said, "we will make tea for the neighbour who's been looking tired." Mariam nodded, feeling a quiet flame of understanding inside her. That night, as she drifted towards sleep, she imagined lanterns glowing somewhere beside another road, welcoming another weary traveller into a pause made of warmth. And she understood at last that kindness, like good tea, is meant to be shared slowly, especially at dusk.